He wants to go to Newcomb first. Newcomb takes him on the post, give a great outside move, but he's covered great by Alvin Porter. So he has to find a second receiver, and he came back to Applegate and found Applegate. Now they got to measure and see if they got a first down.
They have enough. The drive marches on. Frank Solich in his second year after 36 years of Bob Devaney, the late Bob Devaney, and Dr. Tom Osborne. You know, there's a lot of jobs it's easy to come in and be the head coach. Well, it's never easy, but replacing, coming after two legends is not an easy task. Crouch follows Willie Miller, and he'll dive ahead for 8, and somebody was on the face mask. They'll tack a few more yards onto this carry.
Looked like somebody grabbed his face. You can see his head. It just jerked around a little bit. The one thing that Crouch can do for you is he doesn't take his option all the way outside like most quarterbacks. If he sees a gap, he explodes through it.
Terry Turlington, our referee today, indicating the face mask.
Crouch takes this ball. He's supposed to go all the way outside, but there's a big hole right there, and he explodes through the hole, and there's the face mask to pull around the face. Most option quarterbacks like to get the ball outside so they have the option to pitch it to their backs, but Crouch, when he sees a hole, he explodes through it.
J.B. Flowers, the man who grabbed the face mask. Crouch, when he runs it, nearly 5 yards a carry. He's explosive. You were remarking yesterday when we were watching film that when he's in the open field, he runs like a track sprinter.
You know what? We talked about that a little bit. When he gets in the open field, he drops the hammer. It's a running technique called dropping the hammer, and that's exactly the way he runs. And they teach that in track.
Willie Miller with the football. And the fullback gets 5 or 6 on the quick hitter. Nebraska in the red zone, traditionally outstanding. And this year, 17 opportunities, 11 touchdowns, 10 of them on the ground.
Well, you know exactly how they want to score. That's Nebraska football. We're going to run that ball into the end zone.
They can get a first down inside the 2. Alexander does well to hold on to the football on the pitch. Evan Howell took his legs out, so it'll be 3rd down and a couple, and 4 yards for the touchdown. Defensively, no touchdowns allowed by this Oklahoma State defense in goal-to-go situations. Big 94 in there is Jaquay Thomas. He's had a good start to his career, the junior college transfer from Northeastern Oklahoma A&M. Crouch, touchdown. They took advantage of the turnover, and they move it 50 yards.
I tell you what, Nathan Simmons probably feeling bad because that was his fumble that occurred, and Nebraska is great at taking those turnovers and making points out of it.
Josh Brown to attempt the extra point. And the Sidewinder boots it through 7-0 with 9:36 to go in the opening quarter. In front of another packed house in Lincoln. From 4 yards away puts Nebraska on top 7-0. They were stopped their initial possession, but then they picked up the fumble and they go 51 yards in 9 plays. Dan Haydenfeld, the punter, also is the kickoff man. That's Jamal Fobbs. And Fobbs will get a chance. And he scoots out at the 20-yard line. Let's pick up the touchdown again on the option.
Crouch does a great job of getting up in there. He's a running back at quarterback, but if you look at Willie Miller, 6'1", 245-pound, leading up in there, he's in the end zone by the time that Crouch get touched. I tell you what, they talk about pancakes. Watch Adam Jones. He takes the guy to the ground. That's a pancake, and they take pride in that here at Nebraska. I almost messed up and said Oklahoma.
Hey, you're lucky they allowed you into town. Don't mention Norman here. Simmons ahead for about 3 or 4. Chris Kelsey made the tackle. There's our Buick scoring drive. 9 plays, 51 yards, a little less than 3.5 minutes. The amazing thing about that fumble, they had an off week, Oklahoma State, after their loss at Mississippi State, when they had 6 turnovers and 8 fumbles, 5 of which they lost. All they worked on was ball security and fundamentals. They go straight ahead again for a couple of yards. That's Jeremy Hafferty. It'll set up 3rd down and 4. There's the Southwestern Bell Wireless defensive line. Steve Warren is really coming on for Nebraska at the linebacker level. Julius Jackson has 3 interceptions already this year and a couple of fumble recoveries. He scored twice against Southern Miss. Mike Brown is as good a defensive back as they've ever had here. Tall statement, but he gets it done. Here's the delay. Simmons won't get near the 30. Carlos Pope, the middle backer, 13. And also Tony Ortiz, number 37, to stuff it.
When you look at Carlos Pope, he's weighing 250 pounds. He's a junior. He's a big inside guy. I asked Charlie McBride, I said, Charlie, can he cover at 250 pounds? He said he has great feet. He can cover also.
Scott Elder will punt. Keogh, Craver, and Bobby Newcomb back deep. This is a short punt, and it takes a Nebraska hop. A big-time Nebraska hop. So the Huskers will have another short field to work. They'll have it at the +49 when we come back to Lincoln. Play-action hookup with Crouch. And Buckhalter takes it in. His 2nd rushing touchdown of the year. And Josh Brown makes it 14-0 with 7:06 to go in the 1st quarter. Who's on the near side? Nebraska leading 14-0. Terrell Buckhalter, over 130 yards rushing last week in the 40-10 win over Missouri. It gets in the end zone from a couple of yards away. Fobbs from the 5. It opens up a little bit, and Jamal twists to the 26-yard line.
Well, when you watch Eric Crouch, he goes through his option. You know what? He goes to the first one, fake it to the fullback, and he brings it out. There's a bunch of blockers up in front of him, and that is easy pitching. He reads the defensive end and does a great job. Right here, the defensive end takes him, he pitches to Buckhalter, and he is in the end zone untouched.
Oklahoma State needs to respond. Got an unbalanced line to the top. They go to the weak side. Here's Simmons, and he'll get maybe 2 or 3. Carlos Polk reacts quickly, the middle backer, with help from Mike Brown, number 21. The scoring drive brought to you by Buick. 2 plays, 49 yards. The big play, the Crouch hookup with Grant Wistrom's little brother. Tracy Wistrom takes it 47 yards to the 2. Simmons will get to about the 34-yard line, and that'll set up a 3rd and 2. And coming in, Ron Calcagney, the offensive coordinator for Oklahoma State, said, we want to be physical, we want to run right at them and set up 3rd and short.
You know what? When Ron Calcagney said that, he didn't think he was going to be down 14 points. He can't press. They've got to keep doing this. They got to keep trying to get to the 3rds and 2 the way they are now. He can't say we're so far behind. It's still a lot of time to play in the game.
They're unbalanced to the top again. Simmons, close, but I don't know if he got there. It is hard to make a living running between the tackles against Nebraska.
I tell you what, it's hard to make a living running outside the tackles against Nebraska. They have so much team speed. Sometimes it looks like it's going to be a positive game, and all of a sudden these quick linebackers they have show up and only a 2-yard gain.
Well, by the spot, I don't think they got enough. They didn't. Simmons has sent his quarterback, B.J. Tiger, back into the football game. Down 14-0 on their own 35-yard line. They're going to go for it.
He's sending a message here.
And I believe he'll have the 1st down. There's no question he'll have it.
You know, when they walk up to the line of scrimmage, he walks up, and usually what they do is they pick the open hole when you're a quarterback, and you go for the open hole. It looked like B.J. Tiger took almost a whole step back, and then he went for it to go try to find a positive play there.
He actually ended up going off his right guard, Adam Davis, which is usually a pretty good decision.
You know, if you go off Adam Davis, you can't make a bad decision. You know, he's a guy, all Big 12 team captain type of guy that you're looking to make big plays for you.
Here's a counter to Simmons. And again, Polk, number 13, is the first to arrive.
We're talking about
Aaron Wills, 81.
Talking about this Nebraska defense. I just said it looked like it was an open hole. Then all of a sudden it just closed up. Those linebackers do a great job of filling. When you look back here and you see the ball come back to Simmons, there was a nice counter. It looks like an open hole there. And then all of a sudden, there's Polk. There's Willis. They're all up in there just stopping the play.
Here's Jamal Fobbs. Nowhere to run. That's Shaw. Brian Shaw, the senior from Deweese, Nebraska. Erase that play. It'll be 3rd and 9. It is never easy to run against Nebraska. Look at this. 4 teams, Iowa, Cal, Southern Miss, Missouri, all less than 2.5 yards a carry. Missouri, 0.8. Are you kidding me?
Drew, that couldn't be good.
No, and it wasn't. What that was the wrong end of 40 to 10. They need the 47-yard line. Tiger will be dropped at the 30. He escaped twice, but he couldn't escape Chris Kelsey.
When you listen to Kirk Farmer, the quarterback from Missouri last week, he said these guys line up exactly what they're supposed to do. But I tell you one thing, they get there. I don't know how they do it. But when you watch it, it's great coverage. Great coverage. That's what you call a cover sack. He wants to throw it to somebody. Nobody's open. And then he goes and moves. Usually you can get a receiver open sometime during the play, but they couldn't get one. That's a coverage sack.
Joe Walker back deep. Elder under pressure. It's blocked. Loose football. Nebraska will have it 1st and goal. Brian Shaw may have gotten the block. He came clean right up the gut.
How many of those have we seen this year? It's been a lot of blocks. People are talking about putting their best player on defense, and what they do is they just come in an all-out rush up, and he's unblocked, and he gets it, rolls down, and then they try to pick up the ball and get in the end zone, but that's not a bad play on that. And he runs out there and he tries to cover it. I tell you what, this Nebraska, everybody thinks big plays. He wanted to pick the ball up and get into the end zone. That was a big play by Shaw, though.
Buckhalter and Willie Miller crouch to throw. End zone just out of the reach of John Gibson.
That's that placement I was talking about. He did a great job of putting that ball where the receiver could only get it, where the defensive back couldn't get it. And that's what I was surprised about when I saw Eric Crouch and his throwing ability. He does a great job of putting that ball where only the receiver can get it.
That was the first punt that Elders had blocked this year. Brian Shaw has Nebraska set up at the 8. But you're right, Keith. Everybody's had punts blocked this year. Crouch takes a look at the defense and calls a timeout. So it'll be 2nd and goal. We had an opportunity to talk to Eric Crouch yesterday about a number of topics. And one of the things we talked about was the quarterback controversy and if he felt comfortable now as the #1 guy.
Yeah, I feel pretty good about it. You know, there's been a couple, times before where, the position wasn't quite set or, you didn't know who was going to be playing and how much and what time you're going into the game. So now I feel pretty comfortable with where I'm at. I know that, it's my offense now that, I've got to do everything I can to try to get this team rolling and motivate them as much as possible.
One of the interesting things last week when Crouch hooked up, Keith, with Bobby Newcomb from 53 yards away against Missouri, the first guy down the field to jump into Bobby Newcomb's arms was Eric Crouch.
Well, maybe for a couple reasons. He's saying, I want you to stay at wingback so I can stay the #1 guy. That's a great thing. But the one thing that he did is he wanted to get Bobby Newcomb in the game. He said that the week before, I want to get Bobby Newcomb a touchdown, and that's who he wanted to get the ball to. They are great friends. And you know what? Bobby Newcomb made a sacrifice. He said, I want to make us a better team, and I believe I can do it at wingback.
And Frank Solich, all the coaches, effusive in their praise of Eric Crouch and Bobby Newcomb, how well they handled the situation and what kind of character people they are. Davison in motion. Here's Buckhalter. How easy was that? That's option football to perfection. Well, I guarantee you one thing. This is not how Bob Simmons envisioned starting the football game. Brian Shaw made it all happen with the block punt. He's got his own cheering section.
I tell you what, they've been doing a great job on the options so far. We talked to Rob Ryan earlier in the week, and he said the thing that he wanted to do was to make sure that they went through their reads and made sure that they carried out the play.
Brown's extra point is true, 21-0. Well, Brian Shaw understood coming into today that he's a senior, and it was Brian Shaw Day because Brian Shaw has never gotten anything but an A here in Lincoln, Nebraska. He has a 4.0 GPA in animal science. He's a second-team academic All-American, 3-time first-team academic All-Big 12 player, a former walk-on. It is Brian Shaw Day today at Memorial Stadium, and he thought it would be fitting to make a big play.
Well, the one thing that people probably don't know about Brian Shaw is that he has a 36-inch vertical, and he can get up. And when he comes through there, he shows a little vert there. He just barely goes up and tips it and gets a great block and sets it up for his team. Crouch does a great job. He's been running option all day. This is what you call a counter option. You get the defense, the linebackers off track, and he gets a pitch. Somebody did not get to pitch relation. There's an assignment for the quarterback, and there's an assignment for the back. Somebody did not get to the back, and it probably was caused, Drew, by the fact that he did a counter option. Probably was a linebacker got hung up on the counter option.
Jamal Fobbs again from the 5. And he's run out at the 34-yard line. Ralph Brown, the senior corner, got him at that point. Another Nebraska scoring drive brought to you by Buick. Just 8 yards. Well, they had to go 51, 49, and 8. They're playing in half a football field, Keith.
Yeah, it's tough, especially when you start getting turnovers. This is something that Coach Simmons talked about. We don't want to do that. We're getting back to basic, a little bit about what you talked about earlier. Going back to basic, handling the ball well, making sure you do the things that help you win.
Here's Fobbs. He's going to lose a bunch. Ralph Brown again making the tackle. They're going to lose about 7 on that play. He started every game in his Nebraska career. The senior from Hacienda Heights, California. Today, number 43.
With as much speed as Jamal Fobb has, I don't know if he has as much speed to outrun this defense. They do a great job of stringing him out and letting the guy on the outside make the tackle, Ralph Brown. He does a little celebrating there, huh?
Nebraska showing blitz, and the play clock's at 0. Now it'll be 2nd and 22. Oklahoma State going the wrong direction. And Keith, coming into this game, they're an offense trying to find an identity with 2 young quarterbacks, B.J. Tiger, and we'll also see Ben Bowling. And when you're going against Charlie McBride's defense, you can't be behind 21-0 when you're still trying to find your way, particularly here in Lincoln.
It's very difficult to catch up when you have a defense like this. It's very difficult to stay ahead when you have a defense like this.
Quarterback draw, Tiger. And he'll get some of the yardage back out to the 32. It'll be 3rd down and about 13. Julius Jackson, 50, covered him up.
I think that was a great call by Ron Calcagney. What he wants to do is just try to get about half the yards back on 2nd down, and then 3rd down, try to go for the other half you've got to get.
Well, you can have the 3rd-ranked defense in the country, but when you are being put up with 8 yards in front of you to try to keep a team out of the end zone, it's tough. And when you're constantly on the field, it's tough, which means this offense for the Cowboys has to do something. And right now, they're going to call a timeout.
You know, the sideline has got to do their job also. I think they had a player running in late in the game. You got a guy, he's uncomfortable, and B.J. Tiger, and then you want him to be comfortable, then you got to make sure that everybody around him do his job. If he's not a veteran guy like you had in Tony Lindsay, you got to make sure everybody do their job.
Well, next week, Folsom Field to take on the Colorado Golden Buffaloes. Here in Lincoln, 21-0 Nebraska in the first quarter. Still has 1:09 left.
Look at Correll Buckhalter. He probably says, you know what? It's easy scoring. I've gone in untouched. Offense talked about going back to basics, and I said, Coach Simmons, what do you mean by basic? I said, do you mean by 3-point holding the ball? He said, yeah, just tucking the ball away, 3 pressure points, just going back to old high school football, and that's what he's tried to do. But I hadn't seen any positive out of all that.
Well, not yet, and your game plan may be thrown out the window, down by 3 touchdowns early. Go incomplete. It'll be 4th down. They were trying to get it to Terrence Richardson, and number 3, Keo Craver, had the good coverage. Here's Craver, the sophomore. Well, they wanted to be physical. That's how they had success last year with Nebraska, but you can be physical all you want when it's a tight football game. All of a sudden, down 21-0 makes it real difficult. Joe Walker backpedals to the 20. And he'll get to the 28-yard line. Let's take a look at our sleep-in first quarter numbers. Nebraska with 111 yards. Oklahoma State with 12. That's about all you need to know.
That says a lot when you only have 12 yards. This game has been dominated so far by Nebraska. Nebraska's done all the things that Bob Simmons, the coach over with the Cowboys, has said that he wanted his team to do, and that's why they're so successful.
And you saw the one turnover. It's really two with the block punt. And Terrell Buckhalter somehow went into the pile and came out the other side. Give me.
The one thing about these backs, they're big, strong backs, and what they can do is they can pound it up in here. When you watch Buckhalter, you try to wonder, how does he get through that hole? He just keeps his feet moving and pounding and grinding, and that's the thing that they can do. I mean, Nebraska has some great home run backs, but these guys are some power backs.
He actually got 9, 2nd and 1. Willie Miller, big opening. And he rumbles over the 50 to the 48. He just flat ran over Evan Howell.
This offensive line, Nebraska, take pride in opening up holes and getting pancakes. And there's a big open hole in there, and Willie Miller just runs through it. And instead of throwing a move, he just power drives over Evan Howell.
He got 13 yards, and that'll be the final snap of the first quarter. To say it was dominated by Nebraska would be a grand understatement. 21-0 Huskers. Nebraska in front of close to 78,000, the 230th consecutive sellout at Memorial Stadium. This is the second largest crowd ever in Memorial Stadium history. They've expanded it by a couple of thousand folks from last year. $36 million new press facility with 42 skyboxes in place, plus the increase in attendance. Here's Buckhalter, and he lost his footing at the 50-yard line. Let's check in with Jim Knox. Knoxy.
All right, Drew, I'll tell you what's hurting Oklahoma State today. It has to be the loss of linebacker Keanu Wright. He broke his hand in the game against Mississippi State. Now, I talked to Keanu. He told me he felt his hand hurting in the second quarter. He just thought it was bruised. He played the rest of the game with a broken hand. Right now has 4 screws in it. Keanu Wright, definitely a tough guy, but right now he's on the bench this afternoon watching.
I tell you what, he's important, and the reason why he's important, he gets to change. You see a different formation, he can change the formation for him.
Crouch gets it away. Frankie London pulls it in. A one-time quarterback here at Nebraska. Alvin Porter pulls him down. The possessions today for Nebraska, the first time they had it, they were forced to punt, 3 and out. But on the first play for Oklahoma State, they fumbled, and the next 3 possessions, what Frank Solich likes to see.
Touchdown, touchdown, touchdown on the next 3 possessions. And I tell you what, everybody's kind of criticized this Nebraska team. All I've seen is great stuff against a great defense, especially this offense is doing a great job for Nebraska.
3rd down and 6. Blitz coming. Crouch gets it away. Good defensive play. That was Howell closing on Sean Applegate. And Evan Howell broke it up. And the Huskers will have to punt.
In the past, when you look at Nebraska, they always depended on that big play where they fake in there, and then they had a guy wide open downfield. Eric Crouch allows you the ability to be able to throw the ball. That was just excellent coverage by Howell. He did a terrific job of coming up on there. He's a great cover guy.
Richardson will let it go over his head, and look at this, at the 1-yard line, maybe the 1-inch line. Everything going the way of Nebraska. Randy Stella down there to down the football. There's Mr. Stella, who downed the punt inside the 1-yard line. Hayden Felt, a 45-yard boot, and he put a little backspin on it.
He used his 9-iron, Drew. He used his 9-iron. It hit it bounce. But when you look at Stella, he's returning kickoffs, and he's a linebacker. I looked at it and said, I thought it was a mistake. A linebacker returning kickoffs, and he's a willing linebacker, so he can get down there and do those type of things.
They got plenty of linebackers players that can run. Ben Bowling now in at quarterback. And he gives to the fullback, Jeremy Hafferty. And Hafferty gets maybe 1.5 yards. Interesting, Bowling's going to play today, and we knew that going in. He gets his first snap in his own end zone. That can't be a real comfortable feeling.
Well, he probably want to go to the coach and say, Coach, can you wait till we're at the 20-yard line before I get my chance?
Simmons is the tailback, 2 tight ends. Bowling in trouble, a safety. Aaron Wills was not fooled. Now flag has come down. Wills might have been on the face mask.
I think it was a little grab in the face mask there. But as fast as this defense is, I don't care if you trick them. Those guys can get to the ball. And Willis has been a great story for him. A guy who tested positive for drugs and went through some turmoil, but turned his life totally around. And now he has the opportunity to make a big play in this game right now.
Terry Turlington will sort it out for us. Oklahoma State applauding, so we think they caught a break. They did.
You know, that was a big play by Willis. He did a great job. What they do is they tell you to stay at home. So here's the fake handoff, and you don't see him. He'll come up now. And the one thing he does is that defensive end spot is stay at home. So he stayed at home and made a big play, but he just got a little face mask that time.
Well, big break for Oklahoma State. They'll have the first down out around the 16-yard line. Simmons tripped up by Kelsey. He got penetration and maybe 1 yard on the play. Well, Oklahoma State was thrilled that they had an extra week to prepare for Nebraska, but so far you wouldn't know it by their performance. And after an open week, their record really not stellar in the 90s.
And I don't care. I don't think Nebraska is a team you want to play anytime, even if it's after an open date or before an open date.
You could have a year to prepare for Nebraska, and it's not enough. Counter, Fobbs trying to get wide. He's got the corner. And he's run out of bounds at the 30-yard line. A first down.
Run out of bounds by number 46.
That's where they like to get Jamal Fobbs, to the corner, because he's got the extra gear.
Well, he can switch gears on you. He can take off. They try to run a counter here. They're trying to get him off tack. They can't go up the middle. They hadn't had success, so they try to get outside. And you see big old Adam leading him on the outside. And that was a great move by him. And that was a rare missed tackle by Mike Brown there, and he gets on around the corner.
This is Kevin Brown, and he gets just a couple of yards.
Kevin Brown is a pretty good runner at fullback. I'm surprised they don't put him up in there a little bit more, let him pound up in there, soften it up a little bit for Simmons and Fobbs so they can hit it up in there. When you look at him, he was a guy that had a little trouble with his weight. And I don't mean to be picking in his business, but I read where he got married. And I know when I got married, I gained a lot of weight.
And your wife's a little upset with how much fried food you eat, isn't she?
Oh, be quiet.
Not much doing on second down. Jamal Fobbs on the right side for maybe 1 yard.
You know, in your original game plan, you want to run the ball on first down, run on second down, show them how tough you are. But when you look at the scoreboard now, down 21-0, you're in Lincoln, Nebraska. You got to start thinking, I need to get the ball to Richardson. I need to get the ball to Howell so they can make some big plays to get us back in the game.
3rd and 7 for Bowling here. The pass is incomplete. Good coverage by Craver on Ethan Howell. So Oklahoma State will have to punt. About the only thing they were able to accomplish there is not getting a safety and at least getting some room.
Well, they still got
Elder, their punter.
They still got to get the punt off. They had a little trouble with that earlier today. But you know what? There are some positives in there to grow on a little bit. They got the ball outside of a speed defense.
Pressure coming. Elder gets it away. Good punt. Walker backs up to his 27. And a flag comes in, and that could have been a violation of the halo.
Yeah, I think that's that old halo rule. I think he got a little close. But you know, sometimes what happens, they get pushed in the back. They don't want to get that close to the guy. They get shoved in the back.
Well, that's what it was. It was the shove in the back, which would have violated the halo. So the officials on top of it. And the punt of 40 yards by Scott Elder.
Interference with the opportunity to catch the kids. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Oh, excuse me. So it is a penalty against Oklahoma State. It was the halo infraction and not the block in the back. We'll step aside. 21-0 Nebraska. Nebraska leading Oklahoma State 21-0. Eric Crouch has been in the end zone today. Let's take a look at our Dr. Pepper Big 12 Conference leaders, pass efficiency leaders. Josh Heupel having a great year. Then Crouch, number 2. Mike Machete from Colorado. We'll see him next week against the Missouri Tigers. Drew Goodman, Keith Jackson, Jim Knox from Lincoln. 10:31 to go in the first half. And that'll be a loss on the play. Alexander gobbled up almost immediately by Courtney Mallory, the 290-pound senior defensive tackle from Detroit. Coming up later in the game, we will select our BMW play of the game.
I tell you what, Mallory did a great job of exploding through the line and make something happen. This defense is what Oklahoma State depends on. They've got to come up with a turnover or a big play.
They might have to score. Here's Alexander with room. And he's tripped up after a pickup of about 14. When he gets his shoulders square, he's not a guy you want to tackle.
You know what, Coach Frank Solich said that yesterday. He said he may not be the fastest guy on the team, but when he hits you, you know you've been hit. They do a great job. This all starts with the quarterback and with a great read. Somebody did not get out there to make a tackle. He gets those shoulders upfield, and really nobody wants to make that tackle. He's a big, strong guy, a guy that ran a 4.68 last year, gained weight, and took his 40 time down to a 4.53. So that's impressive.
Well, it's scary because he weighs close to 250 pounds, 4% body fat.
You know, guys like that, cold weather is great for, because in hot weather, when you have that lower percentage of body fat that big, they normally cramp up. So he must love being in Lincoln, Nebraska today.
It was cool. We were talking about that on the drive over to the stadium today. This is one of those days where you might get a little shy in the secondary, because every time your hands hit that hard plastic on the helmet or the shoulder pads, it stings for about a month.
And when you have guys like Buckhalter and Alexander that weigh a lot and bring the heat, yeah, you might not want to tackle them. But this is Oklahoma State, and they're coached by Rob Ryan, and I know that they want to lay some leather.
3rd down and inches. Crouch takes it himself, 1st down.
You know, we talked about Crouch early in the day. He's matched up against Rob Ryan defense. He has a lot of confidence, and when they told him you're the guy, Bobby Newcomb's going to play wing back, you know, he has utmost confidence now, because he knows that if I make a bad play, they're not going to snatch me for the game. This is my team.
Yeah, he definitely is carrying himself that way. And Bobby Newcomb's already had a couple of carries in this game, so they're getting him involved. Here comes a reverse to Newcomb on cue. Crouch out there to block for him. And Bobby Newcomb will get it inside the 35 to the 34, and there might have been a late hit. At the start of the year, Bobby Newcomb, in a very close battle, was named the starting quarterback over Eric Crouch. Crouch was disappointed, very disappointed, as you might expect, but he pointed out that he never thought about leaving the team, contrary to what some people said on talk shows in Nebraska. And some people wrote, Eric Crouch said, I never contemplated leaving.
What about the unselfishness of these two guys? you look at Newcomb. He wants to make this team a better team, and that's what he said. They're putting the best 11 players on the field. When you have Newcomb at wingback and watch the day he's having so far, they've got the best guys on the field. Now, Newcomb is still taking snaps at quarterback. If anything happened to Crouch, he will move back and play for quarterback.
He's not listed number 2 on the depth chart. Jeff Perino is. But if Crouch were to go down in a close football game or for extended period, Bobby Newcomb would be back under center. On the option, Alexander gets a couple before J.B. Flowers grabs him up around the shoulders. There's 58 Kevin Williams. He was around the football as well. The redshirt freshman from Arkansas. You know that state a little bit.
Fordyce, Arkansas, outstanding basketball player who I hear Eddie Sutton is talking to him in his ear, saying you ought to come out and play a little post position for me. They've been pleasantly surprised with his play so far. He does a great job on that corner coming off. He really be spectacular against passing teams because he's a great rusher.
2nd and 9. Crouch. Oh, that was a dangerous throw. Evan Howell nearly had the pick. And we were talking about Oklahoma State maybe needing to score defensively. They would have had their chance right there.
You know what? Evan Howell is a guy that can cover and he can run. If he didn't trap that ball, nobody would have caught him. But the thing that they wanted to do was they wanted to know where Bobby Newcomb was at all time. And so they were going to cover him. They didn't put a special defense in, but they wanted to know where he was. So they knew where he was. Evan Howell stepped in front of the ball and couldn't catch it and couldn't take it to the house.
A flag came in late. And it'll be a procedure penalty against Nebraska.
You know, we were interviewing Rob Ryan, and he said that any time that Bobby Newcomb comes into the game, they want to be aware of him. They're not going to put in a special package to stop him, but they want to be aware of him in the game.
Decline, 3rd down.
And so far, they probably know where he is, but they just can't catch him.
3rd down and 9. 21-0 Nebraska. And another whistle. And the timeout indicated by Oklahoma State. 7:58 to go in the first half.
State 21-0. And a reminder for you Big 12 sports fans, don't forget to keep up with your favorite team. All you have to do is log on to Big12Sports.com for the latest. Interesting vote this week. They asked you to vote on the toughest football stadium to play in the Big 12. I'm sure Keith Jackson and Drew will be casting their vote after this game, guys.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jim, I know Keith Jackson will tell you one of the toughest places to play anywhere in college football is right here.
I tell you what, this is a tough place to play, but I'm going to tell you something, Drew. These are some of the nicest fans that you will ever meet away from home.
They're very respectful, very knowledgeable. 3rd and 9, option, Buckhalter with room. He'll have the first down and more inside the 10-yard line. Whoa, I might have spoken too quickly. They're going to mark them out around the 9.5. It's going to be very close. That's why you heard some of the boos in the background. Looked like he had enough initially.
We know that Couch is going through his reads. He's doing a great job of that. He has to pitch the ball. But watch the receiver up here. That looked like Davison up there getting a great block to help Buckholzer get to at least close to a first down. But it looked like it's going to be 4th down.
It's going to be 4th down and short. And I don't know. Flags flew. This one won't count. Had it counted, though, I don't think Crouch got anything.
Well, I tell you one thing, he doesn't have the biggest body. He's not a real big guy at, 6'1", 195 pounds.
False start on the offense. 4th down.
No, he doesn't. Now you have a different deal. It's 4th and 6. And I imagine Frank Solich will bring the field goal unit out. So Josh Brown will come into the game.
You know, as well as they're playing today, you look at Frank Solich's face, he's a little upset about that. He wanted another touchdown.
It's still early. One never knows. 31 yards away from the far hash. And now movement again. And if this is on the defense, they get the 5 yards back, and Frank Solich would have another decision.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. 5-yard penalty.
Well, just making it a little more difficult for old Josh Brown.
I don't know if the fans like that call too much.
Well, Josh is probably saying, you know what? I could withstand about 4 more of those penalties before it gets a little uncomfortable.
He's a great kicker. He can put the ball through, and this is great practice for him.
This will be a 36-yarder now. London has it down, and the kick is through. So Nebraska extends their lead to 24-0. Their offense has been very good, and their defense has been very good.
You know, coming in here, you talk about this defense. They've been a little upset because everybody's talking about Oklahoma State's defense, and they didn't feel like they got the respect that they needed. They do a great job of running the ball down, and I said it once before that it looks like they're going to have positive plays, and they just close the door on you. They've been doing a fantastic job up front all day long with those linebackers who can run. I mean, they have linebackers who run, but they're surprisingly, their down linemen have been the guys that they're really happy about, because when you have 2 big guys in the middle, namely Steve Warren, you can stop that run and make people run outside. That's where the speed of your linebackers come in, and they've been happy with Steve Warren, who I hear can sing a little bit like Barry White.
You've been snooping around?
Well, I wanted to hear him a little bit yesterday. I didn't get a chance.
Little Barry White, huh?
Well, you just got to imagine a guy that weighs 300 pounds has to sing like Barry White.
To the 15-yard line. Reggie White didn't get far. Let's check in with Jim Knox.
Hey, Drew, I got to show you this. Check out the new field here at Memorial Stadium. You got the grass underneath. You got the recycled tires. That's right, 13,000 recycled Nebraska tires. Now, this will cause a little problem on opposing teams. They're not exactly sure on which kind of shoe to bring. Oklahoma State, they brought the cleats. They also brought the short cleats. They also brought the natural turf cleats. They don't know what to do. 280 pair of cleats. Oklahoma State, hey, they don't know what to do out there.
Here's Simmons to the 20. Hey, Jim, save a pair of 10.5s, and Keith needs a pair of 15s. He's got big boats.
Hey, we're at 13s, but we had a great time out on that field yesterday. We had an opportunity to run on the field, and we had on plain tennis shoes, and we were making nice cuts. I wanted to let everybody know, Drew, you have a nice arm. You could have been a quarterback.
Well, it's that artificial surface, Keith. But it's funny. It feels like grass. Simmons with an opening to the 32.
Now this.
Here's a Buick scoring drive for Nebraska. They come away with 3 points from Josh Brown. 8 plays, 46 yards. Big play, Bobby Newcomb had a 20-yard run.
You know, 6 minutes left to go in the quarter. I think they finally figured out what exactly they want to do at the beginning of the game, to run the ball for positive yards on first down, positive yards on second down. That was a great series of plays for Oklahoma State.
Can they sustain it? Bowling remains the quarterback. And there was contact on the out-and-up move at the 40-yard line. Ethan Howell saying, hey, I was interfered with.
Well, I'm an old receiver, but I sure believe that was interference myself. He gave him a nice stop. You cannot run in front of the receiver like that and stop him from going on his route, and that's exactly what happened on that play.
The man who had the collision was Keo Craver. They say, believe it or not, as great as Ralph Brown has been, they say Craver has better talent. 2nd and 10. Simmons, pretty good move before Ralph Brown hit him low and knocked him down.
I tell you what, that offensive line looked like they're stepping up and they're taking a challenge and they're opening holes up front. And that is a positive gain. Once again, that's a positive gain. They got to start getting a positive and try to inch back into this game.
Yeah, I mean, their MO is not to drop back 30 or 40 times a game. They want to be a physical football team. But it's tough when you're in a 24-point hole. Bowling is dumped. Boy, Nebraska stayed at home on the waggle, didn't they?
I tell you what, they did a great job. Bowling went through his read, but you want to know something? They put a lot of pressure on you on this defense. He goes and he gives a nice fake. Now he's trying to come around. They're trying to sneak Kevin Brown out of the backfield, but you know what? Willis does a great job of reading it and putting pressure on him. He hung off him a little bit, and another guy, Julius Jackson, was covering Brown, so he couldn't get the ball off.
Joe Walker back. No fair catch for Mr. Walker, and he's erased. It's right where he caught it at the 34-yard line, and let's pay a visit to Jim Knox. Nim.
All right, thanks, Drew. Coming up on the Sonic America's Drive-In Halftime Report, we got a good one. Keith Jackson's coaching tips. Keith does a little jamming with the defensive secondary here at Nebraska. Also look back at some big plays in the Big 12 and look ahead to other Big 12 actions set for later today, including a preview on tonight's Texas Tech, Texas A&M game. That's coming your way on the Sonic America's Drive-In Halftime Report. Drew?
All right, Jim, thank you. Willie Miller and Correll Buckhalter. Late pitch, Buckhalter. He stepped out of bounds. At the 44-yard line, he stepped out. But I'll tell you what, the big man showed he can run.
He showed he had some speed, and I will tell you something. The sideline is your 12th man. They call the sideline your 12th man, and that 12th man came into play then. They do a great job of pitching the ball out, and then he's straightened up. He's ready to get out here, and he's running down the sideline, but there's that 12th man coming in right there. And he really had no reason to step out of bounds. He had enough room, but I tell you what, he was excited to get in that open field. They hadn't seen open field like that in a little while.
22 yards on the advance. The Oklahoma State defense, Keith, has to be getting fatigued.
Well, the one thing about it is when you look at that defense, you're missing a big component in Kenyatta Wright.
Willie Miller. Here's Miller trying to sprint into the secondary, knocking people over to the 25. That is vintage Nebraska football.
They're running that inside trap to the fullback and doing a great job. You ask Frank Solich, you say, hey, can this guy run the ball? Is he just a blocker? And he said he's an outstanding runner up in the middle. They run that little trap inside and get a big hole in there, but he breaks a tackle right there. When you look how strong he is, he pulled away. Here's a guy that's come back from a couple of injuries, abdominal muscle, had a growing muscle pull, but you can tell right there on that play.
You got 19. Crouch cutting it back. He was one step away, perhaps.
Does he have the vision of a running back? I know this is a running offense, and you say, well, he's a quarterback, but he has the vision. It was a hole, and he saw it. He was getting ready to change gears and get to the end zone. That was a saving tackle.
Well, Frank Solich was saying yesterday, either Crouch or Newcomb would make great eye backs.
I wouldn't mind seeing Newcomb back there, dotting that I.
I imagine he wouldn't mind dotting that I either. A few more touches. Buckhalter, and a good job that time by 91 Chris Tyler, the sophomore from Killeen, Texas.
The one thing about Bobby Newcomb is he's only 6 foot, 195 pounds. And the one thing that Frank Solich said yesterday was the fact that he didn't know if he could take the pounding from that I-back spot all year long, being in the Big 12 conference, because this is a tough defensive conference.
Yeah, it's a run conference, though your alma mater is trying to change that a little bit, huh?
You know, I wish I had the opportunity to play tight end down there right now.
You add up all the catches you had in 4 years, you get it in 4 games. Dwayne Levels knocked him down at the 16-yard line. But the thing about Crouch you got to respect is he's a physical runner. Remember that run against Iowa where he knocked the guy over at the 7-yard line?
Well, the one thing Crouch is that he's not scared of anybody. He runs his counter option up here, and he knows where he wants to get. He's trying to get to the sticks, and you don't find a 6'1", 195-pound quarterback that wants to throw his shoulder in there to get to the quarterback. I mean, get to the first down.
Well, he was about a yard shy, but Frank Solich will go. Bobby Newcomb brought the play in, and Newcomb comes to the near side. Crouch keeps. Crouch has a first down. Great read.
I'm going to tell you something. He does a great job. When you see him come down the line, he comes down the line and he plants and he heads north and south real hard and real fast. You look at him as he comes down the line of scrimmage, and now he sees a little hole. And he takes that plant right there and make Knowles miss him. Knowles had a clear tackle, but the way that he had the ability to plant and turn north and south, that's the reason why he had a positive play.
1st and 10 from the 13. And good defense this time.
You know, I was wondering earlier in the game why they weren't getting out there to the pitch relation. The offensive line of Nebraska has been doing a terrific job of cutting people down. That's why they're not getting there. Guys who would normally get there and make plays, they're doing a great job of a scoop blocking and getting there and cutting people down. And Buckhalter has been one of the guys who's benefiting from this most of all, because when you see Krause get to the corner and the last guy takes him, man, Buckhalter has run into the end zone untouched. I probably could score.
You look pretty good yesterday running around. Option pass, Crouch, got a man, touchdown, it's Wistrom. Wistrom having a big day. 3rd catch. Second touchdown of the year for the sophomore from Webb City, Missouri.
You know, he's majoring in secondary education and mathematics.
Josh Brown makes it 31-0.
And he's a guy that, you know, you say, you're not going to be a teacher after you finish at Nebraska. You got a date with the NFL. He does a great job, but what sets this play up is the play fake of Crouch. He does a great job, then he bags up, and he runs a great route. You don't see it, but at the top of this route, he gives a great move, and he's wide open. He has the ability to run, and he catches the touchdown. He's their go-to receiver. When you look at debates, what he does, he's a great blocker, but he's their go-to receiver at tight end.
Well, his brother Grant won the Lombardi Award here, now plays for the St. Louis Rams. Both, as you mentioned, outstanding students.
That speaks a lot for the university. When you see brothers coming after brother, that says that you have a great institution and a great coaching staff. That's what that says, because sometimes you have somebody who's done one of your brothers wrong and you don't want to go there. But you see a lot of that at Nebraska.
Yeah, it's really amazing how many brothers have followed in the footsteps of older siblings. Jamal Fobbs, 7 yards deep, will put a knee down. 31-0. Nebraska with 1:10 to play in the first half. Eric Crouch has run that offense to perfection. And, you know, this year Nebraska's had 2 big days on the ground against Iowa and Missouri last week, and 2 days that they kind of sputtered offensively against Cal and Southern Miss. And obviously those 2 schools had something to do with that. But Nebraska looks like they're starting to get it in gear offensively.
Well, I think they were a team trying to find themselves. You know, you really don't have a home run back, but you got 2 sturdy pounding backs. And I think they're starting to find out where they fit in.
Remains at quarterback. They give to Nathan Simmons. He gets about a yard or two. Chris Kelsey with the tackle. Brian Shaw also around there, 46. Let's take a look. We have a flag, but we'll sort that out in a moment. Let's check out our national car rental game summary thus far. So it'll be a motion penalty.
Illegal shift on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
1st and 15. Here is our national car rental game summary. Oklahoma State did a great job to start the game. 3 and out for Nebraska. They get the football at midfield. Great field position. But on the first play, just a fumbled exchange between B.J. Tiger and Nathan Simmons, and then Nebraska got on a roll. Bowling trying to get it on the fade route to Howell, but good coverage there.
You know, the guy that's covering is Ralph Brown. If you're going to pick on any guy, I know Keo Craver is a great cover guy, and he has a lot of athletic ability, but Ralph Brown is not the guy. You know, he's the All-American candidate. He's a guy that does a great job on the bump and run. And when you see the halftime special, he was the one that was demonstrating how you get a jam, and he used it out there just then.
He's another guy that's going to continue his career when he's done in Lincoln. Here's a delay. Steve Warren will be the last to get up. 91 also in there is Lauren Kaiser, as Nathan Simmons has not found a lot of room to run. Last year, 116 yards against Nebraska. In fact, Nebraska had more yards in total offense and plenty more time in possession, in time of possession against the Huskers. But in the end, it was the Huskers with 7 more points.
Yeah, you know, that they always talk about, you want the time of possession, you want the yardage, and Oklahoma State did a great job of that last year, but it really counts at the end of the game when you look at the scoreboard, and they are looking at the scoreboard, so they've got to start pressing right now a little bit. They've got to get the ball to guys like Marcellus Rivers. They've got to try to get the ball to Ethan Howell. I feel sorry for Ethan Howell. This is the second time in a row against Mississippi State. He played against the All-American candidate and Robert Bean. Now he's playing against Ralph Brown. You know, he's went up against the tough competitors, and it's not fair that he doesn't have his main quarterback, Tony Lindsay.
There's Bob Simmons, and there is the aforementioned Tony Lindsay. Tony's getting better. He was out throwing earlier this week, but the arm isn't the problem, it's the knee. And Tony's not just a pure drop-back quarterback. Tony's a guy that's got to move, so that knee's got to be at least 90% before he can be back in there. They think maybe late October. Third and 13. Bolin just eaten up. He never had a chance. Julius Jackson came off the edge. He's becoming a big playmaker.
You know, there's certain people that you can run shuffle passes against, and there's certain people you can't. I think Ben Bolin was going back for a shovel pass right here, but he didn't realize the speed of these linebackers in Nebraska, and Julius Jackson just explode. He's got Nathan Smith coming up underneath, but Julius Jackson gets there before the play can even start.
Nebraska called a timeout because they want to force the punt with 27 seconds left. They might come after another one. Reminder coming up at halftime, the Sonic, America's Drive-In halftime report with Jim Knox. We'll check some scores from around the Big 12 and we'll get another tip, as we talked about, from Keith Jackson.
Hey, I only know a couple of things about the game. That's everything, I guess, Drew. But when you look at a guy like Crouch, and then you look at the flip side, you look at Ben Bolin, who's having a tough time. Ron Calcaglia told us a great story about him being in the movie theater before Tony Lindsay getting hurt, and Ben Bolin came in and tapped him on his back and said, "Coach, I want to play." Well, you get an opportunity to play, but you might be playing against the wrong team at the wrong time.
It's not a lot of fun to come to Lincoln, Nebraska if you're an opponent. Only 3 teams have won here in the last 11 years. Here's the heat, and Elder gets it away. Barely. the field position will be outstanding. And Oklahoma State downs it at the 35, 12 seconds left. So maybe a play and a field goal attempt is probably what's on the mind of Frank Solich, who doubles as the head coach and offensive coordinator.
That was a great call. That was a great call that time to get set up position. He figured he can get some more points before going in at halftime. And if you're looking for an offensive coordinator, you better look at the head coach, because there's not one. He's the guy who's going to call all the plays.
Punted just 24 yards. There's a quick throw, and Applegate will get it to the 21, and they'll call timeout with 3 seconds to play. No, they don't have any. Let me correct something. They're out of timeouts. I thought they had one left, but on the reset, here's the spike, and there's 1 second. We thought Nebraska had 1 timeout left. They were out of them. But Crouch executes it. One of the benefits of college football is the clock stops after every first down.
Then you have the old kill play. They used to, a long time ago, they used to take the ball and they used to throw it out of bounds. Now they're just taking it, throw it forward into the ground, and that's what he did to stop the clock then, so they have a chance to kick the field goal.
Frankie London will hold. It'll be straight on from 39 yards away, and Josh Brown is a perfect 3 of 3 this year. Needs to draw. Boink. It hit the upright. So Nebraska will have to be content with a 31-0 lead. They've done everything right in the first half. Crouch has had a big day offensively. Now, the only thing that hasn't gone their way has been this 39-yard attempt. The reaction of Frank Solich on the missed kick. Coaches want all the points they can get. 31-0 at the break in front of another sellout in Lincoln. It's been all Huskers.